Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Turek Books. We're about to get started with our guest, but I want to remind you I'm going on my Summer of Discontent comedy tour. Dates are up on my website. I'm still putting together more cities, but there's a lot right now. LA, San Diego, New York, Chicago, Kansas City. I think Tulsa's coming soon, Portland, Seattle. So get your tickets now. I'd love to see you out there.
Welcome to Turek Books Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Joshua Turek. We're never going to read all the books we want, but when someone tells us about a book, that's its own valid form of experiencing it. Our guests come in to talk about the books that left lasting marks on them as readers, and that becomes a springboard to who they are, who I am, and maybe who all of us are. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And who knows, maybe you'll end up grabbing a book or two. Maybe you've read some of them and it's nice to hear someone else talk about them. We want this to be like a book club, but without the guilt.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Turek Books, Home Edition. Very first.
Oh, this is the first one.
First one with a guest. I've done a couple by myself.
Okay.
I don't know if they're fan favorites, but I'm so excited for our guest today. She's a musician, a sign language interpreter, and she's also visiting us in Tucson from LA.
I'm visiting.
Dominique Matelson, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I was very excited to be here in Tucson.
Isn't it an interesting thing?
It is. I've never spent really longer than a day here, so.
Yeah, and also you're visiting and now suddenly you're making entertainment.
I know. It actually does feel very I wasn't expecting this, but it's cool. I don't know. I feel like I'm on tour, or like this was like, I don't know. It's just cool to do this.
Good.
Yeah.
Because like when I was thinking of you visiting, it's like, I always like your conversation. I'm a fan of your music. I even directed a music video of yours with my dad's old video camera.
Yeah.
When I Told a Lie is the song.
Yeah.
Look it up on YouTube. And what was cool about that video was we shot it like a month before the pandemic.
I know. And like right before I was moving too.
Oh, that's right.
I know. It was like, it weirdly you feel that in the video a little. I don't know. Like it feels like this like sweet, like bittersweet, like goodbye, like in the video or something.
Goodbye to normal times.
Yeah.
Goodbye to you in
Innocence.
LA. Innocence. There's all these interesting symbols we brought into it that we didn't totally know why, but then there is something saccharine, sweet, and sad about that video. And the sun was setting. We were in Elysian Park, which is by Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
It's like where more coyote attacks happen than anywhere else in the country.
And Siobhan kind of played like my little brother. Oh wait, who did she play again? Or it was just a very tender, and she's like one of my best friends, so it was like this tender, like we were like sleeping in sleeping bags next to each other outside in the park, and it was just like, it was so cute. And like
it was cute, but you were also kind of haunting her.
Oh, that's right. I'm like, wait, what was it? I was kind of haunting her, but it was like, because it was all about like, you know, when I told a lie, like or growing up, and then like finally like sort of breaking away from innocence. And did she represent the innocence?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. That.
Yeah. And as soon as like you encounter dishonesty, that's when you meet adulthood.
Yes.
I think that was my big interpretation of your song.
Yeah. That was really good. I feel like you kind of made me see the meaning more, or that's kind of always how it happens when I write my music. I like don't really know what the meaning is, but I mean, there's like something there. It's very stream of consciousness, but then I feel like that's how the meaning is created for me, like through other people's interpretations. And I'm like, wow, you're right. Like I like to have these sort of like psychic connections with people in that way of like, you sort of just like figured out the meaning for me or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's almost like you make art so that people can tell you what's going on with yourself.
Yeah. I'm like, please tell me. Can you help me unlock this? I don't know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for ascribing significance to this impulse I had.
Yeah. No.
Because I didn't know how else to pass the time.
Yes. No. This or the video?
All of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm saying, as a creative person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then like having someone else come in and tell you. But too, actually.
Yeah. I was like, it feels like
no,
it applies here too.
This too.
Yeah.
I tell people, I'm like, I don't know if I could even be a guest on this. I don't know if I have enough to say.
I mean, I was nervous when you asked me. I was like, felt very honored.
Oh,
but
good.
I don't want to tell a lie, but I'm not that I mean, I read. I used to be a big reader. Like,
Yeah.
I was homeschooled until like 4th grade, and I feel like for some reason, like when I was homeschooled, I read so much, and then like the moment I got to school, it kind of felt like homework, and I didn't like that. So then I feel like I kind of like I had a little bit of a distance with reading for a while, but then like on and off throughout high school, I get really into like there's just like specific books I remember, but there's not many. Like I'm definitely not like a bookworm. So I was a little like, oh my God, am I worthy enough to be on this podcast?
Yeah, because in some ways it's even more significant.
Yeah.
Because like, it's like, so what does get you to a book? And it's got to be more powerful than someone who's just like obsessed with books.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's both. Definitely, you could say for someone who reads all the time. I'm always envious of people that read all the time. Like, I feel like they're tapped into, I mean, it is just such an amazing way to learn. You learn about so much. I was listening to your episode with Tim and how you guys were talking about like incidental learning when you're reading. Like, you just kind of, like, he learned about music through books or like things that he heard or read in a book. He's like, oh, I'm gonna look that up. And it's like, I love that sort of domino effect.
Yeah, where it takes you. It almost like makes you hip to the world. Like, how else are you going to encounter these things? Now we have the internet, but like even that doesn't take you through the layers of what things are.
Yeah.
So you're only getting a little snippet of it, which is something. But yeah, books are companions.
Yeah.
And thinking about homeschooling reading, it's almost like if you had a book, your parent or whoever was homeschooling you was probably like, okay, you're doing something. It's almost like a deflection.
It is. It's like, okay, like you're learning now and I don't have to actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved the like Magic Treehouse series when I was little. Do you remember that?
What were those about?
They were just like always like a timepiece. It was like these two kids that lived in a treehouse, and one would be like the Civil War, and it would like take you, and they would go into like a secret place or like.
Okay.
I can't remember.
So it was
now.
like the Magic School Bus,
kind
but
of
a treehouse.
Like each cover had them in like a different outfit. They were like in the Civil War, or they were like, you know, or dressed up in that time. Like, so they would all be about a different, and it was a way to like kind of learn into that.
I love that.
Yeah, it was really cute.
And like each book cover was like so different.
And so it all felt like different, but it was always the same two characters. Yeah. I really liked those, but yeah, I don't remember much. I actually brought some books from my childhood.
Yeah, good.
I Spy.
Nice.
Which were like, these books recently, I realized how amazing they are. Because my last album I made was very about like fantasy and stuff, but more like the darker wing of like love addiction and like kind of getting caught up in just like fantasies playing over and over in your head, but not actually like anything really happening in your life.
Yeah.
And I was kind of trying to tap into that in my writing. And I remember this book just popped into my head because also the like cover art was so like what I wanted the album art to be too. I'm trying to show it to the
so
camera.
if you're listening, it's a cloudscape with Pegasus, hot air balloons, blue sky, a total world up there.
Yeah. And
stars.
I love this. I ordered it literally to read it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I was
you
like,
just
wait,
got this.
Oh, over lockdown.
Nice.
I really wanted to see it and like be inspired. And each page is just so cool. It's like truly just these little fantasy worlds, and especially the cover one with the clouds. And it just like,
I had that exact
did you
but
have this?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what I Spy. Are you just looking at things that it tells you to look at?
Well, there's like a little riddle at the bottom of each page.
Yeah.
I think so like the woman worked with this man who set up the whole like the scene, and she just did the riddles. A goose, a ship, a train, a sheep, 11 stars, and a baby asleep.
And then you find them.
I guess. Yeah, those are the ones you find.
But it's not like a super challenging find. It's just drawing your eye. It's drawing your attention to something.
Yeah. I think when we were little, it was like so hard. But now I'm like, this isn't that hard. I'm like, wow. But I don't know. Just things like that I was very obsessed with. Not so much like, I just always loved looking at the pictures. Like even as I got older, I was like, I feel like this is like the dumb person thing. I'm just like, I want something with pictures.
Yeah.
Still. Like I'm such a visual person that it's like, this is,
And you were saying it connected to your album in which way?
And just kind of like
Sorry, I got swept up with the pictures.
I know, sorry, they're just so beautiful. Just this specific one, I Spy Fantasy.
Yeah.
Because I was just trying to make, like, I feel like the sounds I was making in the album and the theme was about fantasy, but more in like a kind of negative, trying to break that habit of always like kind of heavily daydreaming, thinking like, if I had this one thing, my life would be better. But it's this very out of reach thing that I've truly just made up in my head, usually love related. Like, if I just like got that person to like me, I would be a better person or something like that. Just like, I was healing a lot during lockdown with that, in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
And so my therapist was like, why don't you channel that like fantasy instead of actually, you know, getting in this like kind of like crazy loop every day, like write about the fantasies and like, what do you love about fantasy in general? Like, what's so alluring about it? I'm like, yeah, I actually kind of just love, like, I love this, like this beautiful kind of like this art and like knickknacks and trinkets and jewels and like antiques. Like I love how this is like kind of a visual representation of like little fantasies. So I was like, I need to like look at this. I need to like make sounds that sound like what this looks like. Like, I don't know. I tried to just like get in that zone.
And you found some like healing in that?
Mm-hmm, for sure. It was really, really fun. It was like exactly what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to make a fairy tale with my last album of like this girl, like it's like I just put a fairy tale spin on it. This girl in her room, like getting like locked into her fantasies, but it was like actual, just like cute fantasies, like in the songs.
Yeah.
But, you know, a little dark, like from where I was writing it from. But I didn't want it to come off like that. I wanted it to come off like this beautiful, cute little like bell sounds and like little like I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and by building that like diorama, thinking in school terms, since you have the scholastic book, it's like you got to sort of displace it. You got to like set it free from yourself a little bit because you got to see it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like, and I got to see it in like a beautiful way, like not in this like dark looping way that was always in my head. Like I was like, I'm gonna take this thing in my head and put it out of my body, but in this like beautiful, like a painting, like a sonic painting. And I feel like it really helped to see it in this like, oh, I could actually take this and it doesn't have to consume me. I can like literally kind of build another world with this thing that I always kind of thought was like a negative thing that lived within me, and like actually kind of like gaze at it and like make it colorful and like spooky, but in like a fun, spooky way.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And that's the power of creativity. Mm-hmm. You're like sublimating ideas into the physical realm so that, oftentimes you're either releasing them or you're treasuring them or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. And I Spy the book.
I know.
Did you hearken back? Like, what made you, what was the spark where you're like, oh yeah, I need to get that I Spy book? You remember it from your childhood?
Maybe I saw a picture or something. I just was looking, like I was really digging into like keywords, like fantasy. Like I was just like, you know, lockdown, nothing to do, just like on Google every day, or like like looking at random Wikipedia pages and like just like thinking about fantasy like scapes and things like that. And I was like, wait, there was like the I Spy book. I don't remember how it came to like how I thought about this. I think I just Googled I Spy, and then one was fantasy, which I kind of forgot about. Oh, because I kind of just wanted to see what they looked like now. I think actually the marble came to mind. Wait, actually,
book of picture riddles. It has a bunch of marbles on it.
Yes, it has.
I'm sure some of you remember these books.
And this one's I Spy Mystery. I love how they all have a little different theme.
Yeah, theme. Yeah. But it's interesting that your therapist pointed you toward a theme rather than like, hey, deconstruct this person and yourself and whatever. She's just like, no, okay, this is a theme.
It's clearly
a
part of you.
Yeah. And so let's look at that. So that the more you understand that, the easier it'll be to reconcile things when they come up.
Yes. Yeah.
Really smart.
No, yeah. I love like the advice she gives me. It was very cool to not be like, yeah, you need to cut that out. It was more like, actually, you do need to cut it out, but like literally like put it in front of you and like look at it. Like, what is this? Yeah, this thing you're so, or the idea of a fantasy.
Yeah.
Like getting, because I've always, you know, I mean, I'm sure so many people say this all the time, or like daydreaming. Like I've always been very much that kid in my family too. Like I'm the 5th out of 6, and I feel like I was always zoning out. Like that was just something my mom was always like, hello, like like, you okay? And I'm just like, huh? Like, I had a hard time, like, maybe that was like stress, nervous system response. I don't know, but I was kind of always like, fantasies like saved me. Like, I feel like I was just like going off in my head. Like, I didn't need much. Like, I didn't need to read a lot. Like, I could take one thing and I was like, I'm good for the rest of the day. Like, just going off in here.
So it's like just a personality thing or a coping thing, whatever it is, it's how you live.
Yeah.
But it was like pre-internet, pre-high-speed internet.
Yeah.
I remember like going into my room and staring at the ceiling was like an activity.
Right.
I was like, no, I don't want to read. I think I just want to go think and see where that goes.
Stare at the wall. I know, it
was so rich.
It was so rich.
It was like thick. You
have to think.
Yeah. Well, now you don't. I wake up, I grab my phone before I even get to the toilet so that I don't have to think. My dreams evaporate right away. And you're like, no, you were figuring something out.
I know. Something was coming to you.
Divining messages from the ether to you and gone. Phone.
Done.
Tell me what to do, CIA.
I know. I remember being really sick in like 6th grade and like, you have nothing to do. Like, you're just like, okay, like laying in bed, like looking over at turning to the left. Like, what does this side of the room look like? I don't know. Just like thinking for hours.
I had this really shitty surfboard that my mom got me that I was grateful to have, but it was like really retro, like from the 70s, really cool in hindsight. And I remember I would fantasize about taking that surfboard to the beach and someone telling me that it was actually worth a lot of money.
Oh my God.
So they would offer me a lot of money for my surfboard. And then, it went from there.
Yeah.
But it was like you're talking about, just an object in the room.
Yeah.
And how do I take my life to an imagined realm where things are working out better?
I know. It's really, we had to be creative. We had to really make ourselves entertained, like that's why books were they're still so great, but like before the phone era.
Yeah.
Like,
they steer your fantasy.
Yeah,
they take you out of having to do all the work of the fantasy.
Yeah.
And if the writer's doing a good job, you get to really go there with stories.
It's true. Yeah. What were some of your favorites in like middle school? Like, did you have like
to read? Middle school is tough. You know what? I think I did. I found Harry Potter right around then, maybe 8th, 9th grade. I really liked that.
Oh, cool.
I just stumbled into it. There wasn't like a hype machine about it. No one was talking about it. I just found it on. I think we had to do silent reading at 15 minutes at the beginning of English class, and I just found it on the shelf because I didn't bring a book.
Nice.
But yeah, middle school is tougher to pin down. I feel like I was hanging out with my friends, and I think I was starting to like write poems and stuff.
Nice.
I had a friend, he played music. He's actually in a band called Dawes now.
Oh yeah.
Taylor Goldsmith.
He's that band.
He's married to Mandy Moore.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I've bumped into him a couple times, but I remember going to his house and he was like playing songs by the Beatles to me. And so I was really impressed by that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so, that I remember like writing in a journal. You know what I read? Okay. Sports Illustrated.
Oh, okay.
I had a subscription.
All right.
Every week it would come. I'd get a big bowl of cereal.
Just like go in.
But it was like long form journalism.
Oh, wow, cool.
Like some really, well laid out
As
stories.
like a middle schooler, that actually seems kind of like hard to read. Or like, I don't know. I feel like I didn't read anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I was only young adult novels. Strictly.
That's cool too. Did you have any that stick out?
Yes. Like there was this one book I read in like 7th grade that I think like it like fucked me up for the rest of my life. I feel like I shouldn't have read it. It was called The Watcher, and it was just about this emo girl with like dark stringy black hair that would sit at the beach, and there was it wasn't from her perspective. Now that I remember, it was from this kid's perspective, this boy, and he would always see her every day, and he was so like, who is that?
He was
and
the
I
watcher.
Like wanted to, no she was.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I don't know, maybe that's the twist, but I wanted to be her so bad. I don't know why. I was like, the mystique, like he doesn't know anything about her, but he's so allured by her, and I'm like, I feel like it just got to me too much, and I reread it like 100 times. Like that's like what would happen to me. I'd get one book and just get into that one book, and then it was Perks of Being a Wallflower. I love that book.
And as someone prone to fantasy, like a book that's almost too nutrient rich for you, because then you
Yes.
said you
I get too,
you were
goes
thinking that
off.
someone was watching you, and that you were
Yes.
like, I think that's the disappointment in life, is
I
like
know.
people aren't watching us as closely as we thought they'd be.
And I always just, that's what happens. I'm like very impressionable. Like I get so like, it feels kind of sweet in a way. It feels very naive. I don't know. I'm just like, wow, I want this exact thing that happened in the book to happen to me. And that's where the like kind of like the skew of like reality versus fantasy. I'm like, wait, this was a book. Like, and like too many rom-coms at a young age. I'm like, love has to be like this.
Yeah.
Like, just like pump the brakes, like get a reality check. But yeah, that book was, I don't even know who it was by. I can't remember the author. But then Perks of Being a Wallflower was one of my favorite. I love like the coming of age books.
Yeah.
I still do. I'm like, God, this is good. Like, just when you're feeling like, wow, something so special, like making new friends or like meeting a friend group you really connect with. Like, that's still something I want. Like, it's just so, that is such an amazing feeling, like connecting with people. And I feel like that was a lot of the coming of age books.
Yeah, that was the good stuff of adolescence, is like you're encountering adult feelings and circumstances for the first time. So they're exciting.
Yeah.
We were talking last night about how, like, the first time you get your driver's license and you realize you can go to a fast food drive-through window anytime you want.
Like,
oh my God.
Like the best feeling.
The best feeling.
Incomparable. Like you can just go with your friend after school and go to Taco Bell.
Yeah,
like,
you have the power now.
No one's gonna say anything. Like it's too good.
Too good.
I'm surprised I didn't do that like every day, all day.
Well, because maybe you didn't have money.
Oh yeah, that's
that
right.
was the one. You had to have
the one
$5.
caveat. Yeah, you had to have. My dad would sometimes hand me like a 20.
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, go to the AMC.
You could get some mileage out of a 20 back then.
Mm-hmm. What would I even do? I didn't have that. I didn't go out that much. I don't know if you were like similar because you have a lot of siblings, but I know you're like of the older siblings.
Yeah.
But I just hung out with my siblings
Did you?
all the time. Like I didn't really have a lot of. I had like a few really close friends, but on the weekends I preferred to just hang out with my family.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved hanging out with my siblings, but I also loved getting away.
Yeah.
Like I would come up with elaborate proposals to my mom because my mom always wanted me home. And so I'd have to start working on her on Monday and like spend time with her. Yeah, to just try to ask her around Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, it was a whole song and dance.
Damn.
Because I loved hanging out with my friends, especially in middle school.
Yeah.
And in the summers, the beach. And
Where did you live again?
we were living in Malibu. Yeah, and it was
okay.
just like a bunch of poor surfer kids. We lived in a trailer. They lived in trailers, but like it was the best.
Yeah.
As long as you had like $5, $10, $20.
You have to have, at
It
least
helped.
a 10. That's pretty good. You could do a lot
Yeah.
then.
Well, I just saw there was a receipt going around of Taco Bell in the early 2000s
right, you were saying
receipt.
that.
Yeah. And yeah,
It's, like,
wow.
so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The numbers. Unreal.
So
Didn't
unreal.
think I'd get to this point in life. You
Where
know,
you
when
would
my
be
dad was like, a soda used to be a nickel. You're like, what?
And now we're like, Taco Bell actually used to be $1.
You
How
could
much was
get
it?
You could get a bag of food for $5.
Wow. I actually don't know how much it is now.
I don't go to fast food a
Yeah.
lot now, but my understanding is you're not getting out for like less than 12, 13, 14, $15
God.
for like a good amount of
Wow.
food.
That's actually crazy to think that now, like, the prices we had when we were younger
I
are
know.
going to seem like, what?
Yeah,
But
and
it's
even
like-
though minimum wage was lower relatively, it was still better. You were still getting a way better deal. But hey, life goes on.
It does.
Books get
you
read.
adjust, I think.
Why we adjust? Yeah, we just
Kind of.
reduce our expectations more and
That's
more.
my adjustment. I'm like, it's just lower and lower every
The
morning.
fantasies
As I grab the
change.
phone.
What are your fantasies these days?
Oh God, it's pure fantasy. Like I can't think for one moment of reality.
Can't afford anything else but
No,
fantasy.
I know.
Fantasy is a great way to cope. I think it's clearly there's a reason why we have it.
creative.
It's creative.
Yeah.
How much of our lives have been improved by people fantasizing.
Mm-hmm.
Being taken away from our time to fantasize feels like the ultimate betrayal.
I know.
Going to work.
Ugh.
Sometimes at work, I'll write down a thought in between tasks and think, oh yeah, I'm going to do something with that thought later. And then I look at it later and it's not a good thought.
No,
and I realize I just wanted to feel like I was thinking.
Yeah, like not at work or like your brain was somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else.
Yeah, I know that feeling. That's why it's always been like, I mean, I feel annoying saying this, but I know so many people feel like this. I just feel like I've never really wanted to do anything like job wise. Like I've just never been driven in that way. Like I've never been like, I want to do this thing like when I get older, or like I went to college, but I was always very like, like, I don't know, maybe it's just being an artist. Like I know Kim Kardashian will say no one wants to work, but I'm just like, I don't know. Like it's just, I've just always would rather be like either fantasizing or like using my brain in a way to like, I don't know, like making connections with nature or like something, just anything else, like getting lost in thought is just my favorite thing to do. And I'm like, as I got older, I was like, that's just like being young, but I'm still like always feeling drawn to like just sitting with myself. I'm like, I think I need to get into meditation or something, because I actually just love sitting with myself and like, I don't know, making weird connections in my head about just kind of tripping out like on nothing. Like it's just kind of, I mean, life is trippy.
It really is.
And then being at work, you're like, oh, this could be trippy, but no. Like, I don't know.
Sometimes I think of like solitary confinement, and it's clearly the worst thing for human beings.
Right.
It destroys people.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I wonder how long it would take to be destroyed, because there would be some part of it. I mean, you're under so much stress and uncertainty. It's a bad example, but it's a very distinct example. Mm-hmm. How much of it would be enjoyed where you're like, I'm just going to meditate?
I know. But I mean, I think meditating is great, but yeah.
But like then in torture situations, they'll blare music. They'll do all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, that is true. And I was talking with...
That's me fantasizing.
Yeah.
About terrible things.
God. I was talking with my friend Sophia, and we were saying that, like, I mean, I don't know if these facts are true, but like smoke cigarettes and like maybe have an unhealthy lifestyle, but like it's actually like still technically healthier if you're like seeing people a lot, like socializing a lot, and just like connecting with friends. I'm like, that is honestly so true. If I'll be in the darkest place and then I'll go see a friend, and I feel so much better. I'm like, this is wild. Like how even when I'm like, oh no, I really don't want to go out today, and like I just force myself to do it, I feel like, wow, I'm like, connections in the community is like actually just all we have.
It is. And then when you hit your limit with that, then being alone feels so good.
Yes, it's all about balance.
Yeah, all about balance and call and response. And I had a joke. It's something like, the scientific fact is that chronic loneliness has the same negative health effects as smoking 14 cigarettes a day.
Yes.
And I said, so why don't you get together with your friends and smoke a few?
Exactly.
It's like literally better for you.
Yeah, it is. That's what Sophia was saying. Yeah.
You're saving each other's lives.
You literally are, just by like being there. That's
sharing a pack with a friend.
Yeah. It really concerns me when I hear like certain people being like, I haven't gone out all week. And I'm like, I understand like so many factors. Like depression is very scary, and I definitely suffer from it from time to time. And like, but I'm like, I just want to be like, let's go out. Like, let's just for a second, like just like to get, I don't know, like the serotonin coming back, like that socializing and interacting.
100%.
Like, even though I think I'm an introvert, I'm like, no, I need some of it. Like, it's
there's some weird thing the way they chopped people up and like, you're an introvert, you're an extrovert. It's like, no, like you're saying, we all have a lot of everything.
There's a lot of everything.
And going for a walk by yourself is great, but with a friend is better.
So nice.
And having a friend come stay with you, even better.
It's even better. Me staying here is great.
Yeah.
Very cozy, and you guys are very hospitable.
Yeah, thanks. And you got some drive time alone though.
Yeah, that was nice. I know.
You got to wander through the desert before you get to your destination.
It was true. I haven't been alone, or like I haven't gone on a long drive alone in a really long time. So it was interesting.
There's room for fantasy in that.
Oh, yeah. You get loopy, I will say. I was like, do other people get like this? I was just like talking to myself so intensely. Like, usually I'm aware when I'm talking to myself, but I I was like, what did I just say? Like out loud for the last like 20 minutes. It was really fun, honestly. It's like, this is great. I'm glad I can entertain myself.
Yeah, how about your stack of books?
My books. This book is also, this is like my Bible. It's Clarice Lispector's Complete Stories.
Yeah.
Have you ever read her?
No, but people have brought her up. It's Brazilian, right?
Yeah. She was like born in Ukraine, but then her family like emigrated to Brazil, and then she, lived there her whole life, I'm pretty sure. But she's amazing. She is like, this is like all in my mind. Like it was like my fantasy Bible when I was making the album. Everything I brought was kind of related to that time period, actually.
Is it your newest album?
No, it was the one I released in 2022, the instruction manual.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was like, I don't know. I would just refer back to this book, The Complete Stories, like anytime I just needed like a zap of like inspiration, because just the way she writes is it's just so strange. And like, I feel like every line makes sense, it hits me like deeply, makes sense to me, but it doesn't. It's very like not linear whatsoever, and like kind of fairy tale like almost. Like she writes about like, I don't even know, there's this, my favorite passage is called Oh Buffalo, and it's like about this woman she's at a zoo and she's just kind of walking around, and she keeps having these kind of intense like talks with herself every time she sees a different animal in a cage. She's like, I can't remember exactly what, but I think she's like trying to distract herself from like love. That's like my takeaway from it. She's like pissed off at love, and like she sees this one animal. This is just a paragraph that I would come back to all of the time, kind of obsessively. Okay. But it was spring. Even the lion licked the lioness's smooth forehead, both animals blonde. The woman averted her eyes from the cage, where the hot smell alone recalled the carnage she'd come looking for at the zoological garden. Then the lion paced calmly, mane flowing, and the lioness slowly recomposed the head of a sphinx upon her outstretched paws. But this is love. It's love again, railed the woman, trying to locate her own hatred. But it was spring, and 2 lions had been in love. Fists in her coat pockets, she looked around, surrounded by the cages, caged by the shut cages. She kept walking. Her eyes were so focused on searching that her vision sometimes darkened into a kind of sleep. And then she'd recompose herself as in the coolness of a pit.
So enjoyable. It just kind of calmed me down.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how her writing feels to me. It's like this sort of like hypnotic. What is she, like, what's happening? Like, it feels like it feels like just so charged with like to me, that was like reading is like she came there looking for the carnage. She like kind of wanted to see something like messed up in the cages, but she's like finding love in all of these like places she's looking, and she's like finding animals, and she's like, but it's spring and 2 lions were in love. And I love the line where it says her eyes were so focused on searching that her vision sometimes darkened into a kind of sleep.
Damn.
Like, that line really got me. I was like, whoa. Like, just this like kind of beautiful, like simple. She's just walking through a zoo, but she's searching so hard for something, and just kind of applying that idea of just searching in general. Like that feeling of me not knowing what I want to do ever with my life. I was just like that constant searching that you feel like you're just like, I felt like I was becoming hypnotized in my own like constant quest for searching for something. And I feel like now I've become a lot more content. Like, I feel like that was sort of like a growing up thing, like feeling like I need to find this big thing, like, but also kind of always feeling a little lost, like not really given a specific like direction my whole life ever. Like, so that line really, I don't know. She just like says these things that I'm like, they really just get me.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, it is hypnotizing you.
Yeah.
You use that word, and it totally was.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you'd return to that specific.
Yeah.
And it's called The Buffalo, but it's about lions.
Well, that's just one of the first animals she sees. It's a couple more pages. It's not that long.
She's at the zoo.
She's at the zoo, yeah, and then she sees the buffalo.
She goes searching for carnage.
Yeah.
Well, and the line you said about searching connects me to a conversation I had with my last guest, Sophie Strand, how she was saying if you stare at a star directly, like if you just focus on that star in the sky, eventually it disappears.
You know what? I have had that like happen to me. Like that sort of, is that like a weird phenomenon thing? Like, yeah, that's happened. And that,
but then if you like turn a little, it reappears in your periphery.
whoa.
Yeah, and something about that relates to what
Yeah.
you just.
Yeah, because she says like you search so much that your sight or whatever she said becomes like darkened. Like, yeah, I also, that reminds me of just other things that I would do to entertain myself when I was a kid. Like I would stare super hard at like a corner of my room when it was dark and would just like see shapes and people and like, you know how your eyes play tricks on you. Like I loved doing that. And I was just like, it was like, oh, what's that? But it kind of would scare me. Like I would always think I saw like a man in my room. And I'd be like, okay, game's over. But like, I feel like I do that still with like art. I'll draw something and not really like what I drew, but then I'll like stare at it really hard and like find different shapes and then go off of that thing. I'll be like, oh, this actually looks like something else.
Cool.
It's kind of, again, like finding the meaning after the fact.
Yeah. And like letting your eyes play tricks on you.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see something different. Yeah.
Kind of go cross-eyed on something and then suddenly it's like, yeah, totally enchanting or mystical. Yeah, I mean, it's also just points to the fact that if you just concentrate on anything,
you can
find a world in it.
I know, it's beautiful actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, this conversation's cool because it brings me back to that. I find I'm caught. You said you're searching for things in your life, but it's also like, yeah, and in front of you is this format.
I know.
And so much of the format is uninspiring.
I know.
And yet it like ramps you up.
And everything is kind of there. Like, yeah, it is. I feel like looking is such a good practice. Like, you really, especially now with the grabbing our phones immediately, like, you don't really look at what's in front of you. And it's nice to get lost in that, like, hypnotic state of, like, what is the shape I'm seeing in the grass? Like, I used to be so, like, anti-psychedelics, like, my whole life. I mean, I've still never done any psychedelics, but I'd always been like, I don't need psychedelics. I see trippy shapes and things all the time. Like in high school, I would say that to my friends and in college too. But it's honestly, you can get trippy like whenever you want. You just have to tap in. Like, and yeah, I feel like I don't get on that tip as much anymore, but that makes me sad. And I want to kind of like just remain curious. I don't know. Yeah.
No, well said.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me last night about a book, and it was how productivity is such a waste of time, effort, and we beat ourselves up for not being productive all the time. And you hear it over and over again. A lot of people have the wisdom to tell us that, and yet I can't hear it enough.
Yeah.
Anytime someone tells me that, I'm like, great, thank you.
Tell me again.
Tell me again.
Please,
Let's say it again.
Yeah.
Like, you can't hear it enough because and I guess, I'm not like heavy into psychedelics, but with mushrooms, it just like slows you back down to that state that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then maybe takes you for a ride depending on what you're doing. But yeah, it's that. It's like getting me back to like the reset.
I know, the reset is so important. It really is like kind of scary when you realize maybe you've been needing that reset for a while and it like hasn't actually happened yet, and like, oh, a year went by and I'm still kind of boring as hell. Like I'm just like, I haven't been like trippy and like finding shapes in the wall in a while, and I'm like, no, like I feel like I'm getting older, and I'm just losing that like childlike wonder. And I like, I just like, I'm not like, I'm 32, but I feel like I'm like, it's like I see it slipping away, and I'm like, wow, it really just slips away a little bit. Like, and
the world we encounter encourages it to slip away. It's trying to thieve it from us.
It really is.
Because wonder does not pay the bills and keep the.
But it's just like people don't want people to have that because it's the best thing ever.
It's the best thing ever.
No,
and like, you realize you don't need much.
You don't, and when people see that other people still have that, they're like, we need to cut that out.
We're going to beat that out of you. We are going to cloud you with drudgery.
Yes.
Or disapproval until you modify your behavior.
God, yeah. And it's just, I don't want to.
Yeah, so how do you keep finding it, through, sounds like creative expressions and just having conversations.
I love having conversations with people. I'm not even I'm like pretty shy in general, but when I really connect with someone, I love like coming back to them and like just talking about like, I don't even know what. I feel like I've always been a little paranoid that I'm not like serious enough or like really like to have really like, I don't know, like political conversation. I mean, I do, but like, I love to just talk about, like weird happenstance things and like magic that's like just, or like what makes you feel that wonder again. Like that's like one of my favorite things to talk about with people. And
well, we walked past those like drunk college kids last night.
That was amazing.
And it like we had so much fun just like putting ourselves back into their world from some version of that world that we had when we were young.
Oh yeah, that was so
it's like
good.
9:00. They're already too drunk. And they're just leaving to go to the bar. And you know one of them's not going to get allowed.
Making out with each other. Like,
making out.
Like, it was wild. They were all like very close together.
Close.
Like there was so much room where they were, and they were all just like in a small, like partying with themselves.
Maybe they were like on MDMA or something.
Yeah.
And, like, having their own little mini rave.
It was literally like 9:30.
In the most uninspired courtyard of like a student living.
There was like a vending machine.
Yeah, exactly.
There was like a Coca-Cola, like
iron gates.
Like a
no
green
plants.
bench, like metal, like painted metal, like that kind. Like a picnic bench. And they were just like going buck. Like this couple was making out. This other, like these two girls were kind of looked like they were about to make out, but they're kind of just rubbing each other's backs, and we're like, they're about to figure some things out.
Experimentation they're talking about.
It was like college. A 2-second, like we walked by literally 2 seconds, but it hit us. It
was a world.
Us
it did. We were just like, we felt so distant from it, and yet it was so familiar.
It pulled us right back in. Oh my god, that was funny.
So funny. But yeah. Tucson, but conversation and like, talking about seemingly inane things, but like there's such a world there.
I know. And other things that bring me back, like literally this book, the Clarice Lespecter book, I just like have to keep this near me. Like I won't open it for a while, but then when I'm feeling really dark and like just not like magical thinking mode, I like just grab this. I'm like, I just need to read one line, like even one line. But then that's my problem, though. I would like to recondition myself to read more, like a whole thing. Like I'm so used to just like, maybe it's from using my phone so much, like the quick fix. Like I even do that with, this book. I'm just like, one line. Okay, I got my fix. And I put it down, but it does help.
It does help. Yeah. Oh, totally. It's like a little life raft. And you hop on for a while.
Yeah.
For a few minutes. Yeah. And then you jump back in the frigid waters.
Yeah. I read this book recently, this full thing.
Okay. Oh, great.
Yeah. Miranda July. No one belongs here more than you. I feel like I can only read like kind of freaky things. Like that's the only thing that keeps my attention.
That's what I was going to say is like giving yourself all the sugar you want to get back into books.
If it gets you, I
think that's the whole thing with all the like fairy dragon porn that a lot of women are reading. It's like, hey, if you need to just throw a wall of pleasure stimulation and tension and smut at yourself to get to like be addicted to reading, great.
Yeah, honestly, I still reach for like young adult novels when I go to the library. I'm like, let's see, like I just love it. Just it will help me actually finish a book. I'm like, what is approachable and not scary? And
but then it takes you to Miranda July, who's like elevated freak.
Yeah, she is. Her writing is so cool. I love how she writes. It's like
she's pretty singular. She's pretty unique.
She is. Like it's so, I love the mundane, and I love that she just kind of makes these really weird little things about humans and like blows them. She like zooms in on them. I'm like, that is great. Because I love just people's weird little tendencies. Like I love kind of dissecting people that I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just like wondering what their life is like. Like what's a day in their life? Like this old man that just walked by me. I don't know. I love that she really like kind of taps into that, I feel.
And somehow she does it without making fun of them in a bad way. Like she brings you close to their idiosyncrasies to the point where you're like, oh yeah, I have that too.
Yeah.
Or I know that person. Yeah. But never with any sort of condemnation.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what I love about it, because those are things that I genuinely am interested in. And I'm not like, ew, that person's weird. Like that because they do that thing. I'm like, I actually want to know. That's interesting that is your experience. That's your lived experience. And like, these are your, idiosyncrasies. And I love seeing it just like zoomed in. Especially this. I love a short story book. Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Do you like a lot of her stuff?
Love it.
Yeah.
I remember
actually borrowed your book. You were the The First Bad Man. It
Oh,
was your
really?
version, your copy, and that was the first one I read by her.
No way.
Yeah, it was like when you lived in Echo Park still.
Yeah. Did I lend that to you personally?
Yeah. I was like there, and I think like Siobhan was like, "You should read this."
Yeah.
I don't know if you gave consent, but I did
Yeah.
borrow it. Yeah.
No, I've lent
yeah.
that book to several people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
feel it's like a great entry point
Yeah.
to her.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, I don't know how you can't like that book.
That book was really, it was like the first time it was the first time I read her. So I was like, wait, what? Like, it really, it was like, what is, I was kind of having trouble the first couple chapters. Like, it's just like, what is this? And then I was like, oh, like, it took me a second to realize she was going like back and forth between like different, it's been so long since I read it, but there was like a back and forth happening, right?
Were you like unsure that she was as weird as you were
Yeah,
starting to
I was
think
like,
she was?
huh? Like, it took me a second, and then I really liked it when I realized how, this actually is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're not missing
I
something.
know. I was like, oh, great. Like, and I really felt like a connection. Yeah. I'm reading her newest book right now.
All fours?
Yeah. I have like 40 pages left.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that one?
It really stressed me out in the beginning because I was like, wait, but she said she was going to New York, and I was getting so stressed. I was like, this can't be the whole book. And as I keep reading, I'm like, nope, she's still not going to New York. Like, I thought she was going to be like, oh, okay, like, I have to go now. But
yeah.
then I really like it.
It's like you want the journey.
Yeah, I
and
wanted
the fact that
journey.
she doesn't pay it off
Is this
frustrates you, and yet you're like, oh wait, this is the point. She's denying the journey for a more important journey, which she stops off at a motel like an hour and a half from her house.
Not even an hour, like 30 minutes. Monrovia.
Yeah, and doesn't tell her husband and family what she's doing. She's pretending she's in New York, and
like taking fake pictures every day to send to her husband and child, just like, I'm in like Kansas now or wherever, like on her road trip.
Meanwhile, she's creating her whole like a weird fantasy world. Not
yeah.
weird, but yeah, no, it's weird. She redecorates a motel room.
Yeah, like pays someone like $20,000 to redecorate a motel room that she's obviously not keeping forever.
And that someone is the girlfriend or wife of the guy she is having a very strange non-physical affair with,
like peripheral, like sexual encounter with, like, or I don't know. Yeah, it's really good. What do you think of it? You finished it, I'm assuming.
It frustrated me too. Yeah. Ruby Castor brought that book on, and I think I was like partway through it or something. I finished it and frustrated me, but now that you bring up the denied journey, that frustrated me too. But what frustrated me was the character's inability to allow love. She was constantly pushing love away. Her husband, by all accounts, was a pretty good husband. Her kid, really sweet kid. The new guy she was having an affair with, really sweet guy too.
Yeah.
And yet she just like compulsively was pushing away love and so self-obsessed.
I know.
And it drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And yet I appreciated it. And it's her deep interrogation of herself, and I found it enjoyable.
I know, it was interesting. Her relationship with her child was like very kind of like stood out to me, because that felt like in that dynamic, it felt like, oh, her selfishness was very clear and apparent. Like with her husband, I was like, oh, it seems like maybe it's a weird, like they fell out of love a while ago. Like, but with the child, I was just like, dang, you're really like lying to your kid, and you're like having this journey of self-discovery when you're like 45, which is fine. It has to happen at some point. And it just made me sad for her, because I was like, yeah, she clearly like was repressing a lot. But it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, she's like, I have to do this like thing. I have to figure out, like, almost like I don't care about any of you. Like, yeah. And I just need to like do this for myself. But it's like, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Maybe that's the thing, like the sacrifice of motherhood, the sacrifice of being a wife, being a woman in this patriarchal society, capitalist society.
Exactly.
And she's carving out this moment, hell or high water, for herself, which that's ultimately the cool part. But they even get a dog, and like she doesn't even really love the dog.
I think that's right where I am.
Okay.
They just got the dog.
It's just like the dog becomes this weird little
pawn
Yeah.
/ afterthought.
I know. I mean, it is like when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, you kind of do. You're still a person at the end of the day, even after you have a child. Like,
Yeah.
you still were this whole person before you brought it like a kid into the world. And it is weird and kind of crazy to think about that. Like, the sacrifice of like having a kid and then also still wanting to like, you're still discovering yourself like
Yeah.
side by side with like having, it's like sometimes selfishness just does come, it like will just happen, you know?
Yeah.
It's both
Because
okay.
you do have a self.
Yes. It's like fine, but it is so weird to like, yeah.
And maybe
read about
that's
it.
the crazy thing is like how radical that is to read and
Yeah.
how I'm calling it frustrating when really it's like, why do we expect parents and mothers specifically to take such a backseat to themselves?
It's true.
And she's perimenopausal, which is like a big element of the book.
Yeah.
And so she's feeling an end of her.
She's feeling like hurried to like do all the things she didn't do for the last like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a much more serious book, I think, than No One Belongs Here more than
Yeah.
You.
It feels like out of all the stuff I've read by her, it feels more like kind of just straightforward. I mean, it's really strange, but it feels more like straightforward and kind of like a whole story with like pretty realistic. Like, I don't know, of like someone maybe not wanting to be with their partner anymore after being married for a while and like how to go about that. Like, sort of. But yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Are they making it into like a TV show?
I think so.
That's cool.
Okay, so I introduced you to Miranda
You did.
July, in my opinion.
You did,
I mean,
actually.
that's what
I
you're
like
telling me.
kind of knew of her, but not really.
Yeah, very much of where we were living at the time.
Yeah.
And you'd see her around. I'd see her at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought she was so cool. And her husband at the time, Mike Mills, who made the movie Beginners with
Is it
Ewan
about
McGregor.
her?
It
Or
seems
them?
like a very thinly
Seems
veiled
pretty-
version of her life.
Yeah. I'm like, this has to be, right? Like, I don't know. It just seemed so, like, the videos of her starting to dance and stuff. Like, do you think that was really the origin story? Like, because she does that on her Instagram all the time. I don't know.
She's very much like where art meets life kind
Yeah,
of person. So, yeah, it seems.
That's cool.
I don't know that she did the thing to the motel room, but
Yeah. That would be really crazy.
not impossible either.
No, I mean, yeah.
But she does do a great job of, like you're saying, bringing light and wonder to people you would otherwise overlook or people you'd want to know more about, but that you wouldn't have the license to talk to.
Yeah.
She finds a way of crossing through that threshold and meeting people, which is an admirable trait and one that's really fun to encounter.
Yeah, no, it's really, really nice. It's refreshing to read. I just love books about people. Like, I really like someone's life and their quirks. And like I've never been much for like sci-fi, which is funny, or fantasy, because people are like, you would love fantasy. Like, I'm like, I actually can't. I love realistic stories.
Right.
I mean, that's not true because some of these things make no sense, but like, I just love
the plot is the human.
Yeah,
like
I love
their inner arc.
Yeah, like sometimes I love, there's some like fables and things I really love and enjoy, like, you know, animals and that sort of symbolism there. But like when I'm reading a book, I really love it to be about like just someone's life. Like, I find it so fun, like looking in and like getting involved in it. But yeah, do you like a lot of like sci-fi or?
Every time I read sci-fi, I like it, but I don't gravitate toward it.
Yeah.
I'm more like you. I
Yeah.
like the inner world of people. You know, Crime and Punishment's a good example. It's just this feverish guy who commits a crime, and he's having to live with himself and reconcile himself to it, and he's paranoid about getting caught. And like that to me is a book my brother and I always talk about because it's like so visceral.
I should read that.
And it kind of brings you home to yourself. But then there's like fun versions of that. Miranda July, all fours, like, you know, whatever. Frustrating, but like there's funny versions.
That's true.
I'm reading Confederacy of Dunces right now, which is so funny. It's just about this. He's like an arrogant slob in New Orleans in the late 60s, and it's just so good.
Oh, nice.
It's so funny.
Who is that by?
John Kennedy Toole, who died by suicide at 31.
the book was never published in his lifetime.
Oh.
Then his mom takes the book out to publishers and writers, and like 10, 20 years later gets it published.
Wow.
It wins the Pulitzer Prize.
That's like,
And this guy was
wild.
just so ahead of his time.
Wow.
20 years ahead of his time.
That's wild. Like to have that come out later. Was the mom still alive?
The
When
mom is still alive.
God. Oh,
So
wow.
she's the one who brought it to the world.
Wow.
And the book is very much about this slob Ignatius, his relationship with his mom. They're like
Oh.
very codependent.
Whoa.
And so yeah, there's a lot of layers to that. And it's so
Wow.
a fascinating story behind the book, but also it's just the funniest book I've ever read.
Wow, that's
I'm
cool.
going to keep talking about it. And I read it 20 years ago, but
Oh, you did?
another 20 years of failure. Not failure, but encountering an indifferent
Yeah.
world, encountering cruelty, losing your hope in humanity at times,
Yeah.
and having to find it again. It's like this book just hits different now.
Yeah, I love revisiting things for that reason. Like,
Yeah.
everything can be so, like, we regenerate. We, like, literally shed skin and, like, come back kind of anew.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just wild to be able to have such a different reaction or perspective to things, like, just a little bit later.
And it's cool when your perspective is a deeper appreciation. Because some books you'll be like, oh yeah, I liked that when I was young,
Yeah,
because there was a
cool.
lot of like
Yeah.
wild drunken escapades,
Right.
which have their value too. But yeah, it's cool when you revisit it and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
there were levels to this that I couldn't pick up on until I lived them.
Yeah. I do that with like song lyrics too all the time. I'm
Yeah.
like, I never wait. Did they just say like things I will literally never notice years of listening to a song that I notice like later with just like a new perspective going into it and like new things, words and like triggers and things that I'm like, oh, like I pick up on different parts of the song and like just whole new meanings that should seem so obvious. Like, oh, that's obviously what they meant the whole time. And I never really connected it. And it's just cool that you're constantly like, you can just always surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Or learn something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on that note, how about these next few books
Oh,
you
yeah.
have?
Well, okay. The next few, there's two of them that I just got. My friend Alex gave me this. It's called Dunce by Mary Ruefle. I think she's a professor at Bennington.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I know she went there. But this was good. I don't like buy that many poetry books anymore, but there was one in here that really struck me. It was like, what is it? It's called Cracker Bell. Just the first part. I mean, it's really short, but it says, "I grew up, I became myself and was haunted by it." Not like I put the book down after I read that line because it again got me so hard. I had to like sit back, like I'm too affected by things, I think. And yeah, it was also just,
How did it hit you, that
I don't
line?
know. Maybe I'm so self-obsessed. Also, I'm just like, I'm relating everything back to me. But I was just really depressed at the time because it was just my birthday. And I mean, yeah, she gave me this on my birthday, this book. And I was feeling exactly, this was like my main complaint, like to my partner, that I just feel like I've changed. Like, I feel like, when you hit your 30s, you're not in your 20s anymore. And like, just all my priorities like actually started to shift for the first time that I really noticed. And I just like felt like a more like lackluster version of myself. And I had been the last like couple years. And I thought maybe it was like COVID. I was like, like haven't really been feeling myself since then. But like, I think I was just changing and growing up. And that's like something that you really do have to think about, or like that just hits you.
Yeah.
Like I never really felt like I was growing up until like I hit 30, and suddenly I just felt like, I don't know, things just felt different. Like I wasn't as enthused by things I used to feel enthused by, or like wasn't writing in the same way or being as creative. I was kind of in like a lull and like not really writing a lot of music, and really scared of growing up more. Like kind of like, wait, let's pump the brakes, even though I still feel very young. But I just felt like this line just kind of hit me like,
Well, there's something humorous about it too, right? Mm-hmm. It's like kind of painting yourself into a corner
yeah.
and being like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
who I am and it's haunting me.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's something funny about
It
that.
is funny.
Because it's not like this is who I am and that's the end. It's like I'm haunted. Haunting is a verb.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of a spooky yet funny verb.
That's
but
true.
also it's dark.
Yeah.
it's saying you're kind of terrorizing yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
I grew up and became myself and was haunted by
and
it.
then a ghost of myself
Yeah.
is haunting what I've become.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also parts of yourself that just solidify more as you get older.
Yeah.
They're less flexible and they're less glazed with potential. So you can't really fool yourself and other people.
Yeah.
People don't find you as charming because they're not like thinking,
No.
yeah, but they're young, they're growing out of it,
Right.
or they're going
So
in this direction that's going to make it all worth it.
It was kind of just like yeah, exactly. Like a little bit of a wake up call. I was like, oh, I need to like kind of, actually do need to grow up because I feel like I'm still like trying to like just like slide by like with my little antics. And I'm like, no, this like, I don't know. You just kind of have to.
So it's a book that sort of coincided with uncomfortable parts of your growth.
Yeah, kind of in a way. Yeah. I'm just feeling like scared that I was becoming like a dried up, like not as magical thinking like version of myself. Like that was the like the part that felt like, and I was haunted by it because I was like feeling very just like meh. Like I wasn't feeling very reactive, and I was just feeling so like, wow, am I like good? Like I kind of feel like that year, like the life was sort of drained out of me, or like the color a little bit.
Kind of watching yourself from a distance and not.
Got a little more bitter.
Yeah.
Like why am I? And
well, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You were talking about how you pulled yourself out of something like that, creating something and seeing it from a distance, and then the inversion. The not good part is seeing yourself static from a distance.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
And I just felt like all my friends were kind of feeling this too at the same kind of age moment.
I don't think COVID helped, but that was 5 years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, this was just when did I get this book? I think this was just 2 birthdays ago. So I think my 31st.
You're 30. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying in hindsight, my early 30s were my late 20s.
Okay.
They're like the end of your 20s.
Okay. Yeah, because all my friends are like, we got our late 20s taken away from us. I'm like, I don't feel like it would have been that. I'm like, it's fine. Like, what really would we have done? Like, I don't know. Probably something stupid. I'm glad I had to stay home. Like, no more trauma. I mean, there's different kinds of trauma. But, yeah, that book.
Cool.
I read one line.
No,
I'm
hey,
like, all right, we're done.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
But that gave us a whole world right there.
She's really good.
Dunce.
So, Dunce. This book is another one that's kind of like synonymous with the Clarice lespecter, like as a Bible for me. Like this, I would pull out often when I was feeling down. I mean, it's not that helpful because she was severely depressed. It's
Which one is this?
Alex's journal. Alex Cleo Rouboud. She's like a French Canadian photographer from like I think like the 70s. She died in like 82, but at like the age of 31 or 30. Oof. I know. But it's kind of creepy when you read this and find out that she died so young because it's just like all of her journals, like not edited at all. Like if you look into it, you can kind of see the like messed up, like there's like a period and then not a capital. Like it's very like they tried to keep it how the writing looked, and there's like no spaces sometimes, and it's just honestly it's really dark. Like it's just a depressed person's like very like inner, and like an artist, so it's very kind of like trippy and magical and but like sad. Like I didn't eat anything today, but then it's like her talking about like art and like her like thought process behind it and superstitions, and I don't know, just like it was just interesting to read again because I feel like that connection with other people, like when you read someone's journals, like I felt like I felt okay because I was like, oh, someone else is also feeling this way. Or like I like, even though, you know, not talking to her, but like I would just look at it and be like, wow, I feel like I am talking to her, and it would just give me that socializing feeling. Like after I'd read it, like I'd kind of feel better being like, whoa, okay, like I just connected with someone on like kind of a emotional level. And her photos are beautiful. They're all black and white, and like she really liked to work with the negative space, just like what it created. I'm kind of realizing that like everything I'm talking about today, like all the books I brought, they kind of connect actually really well because this is again like, or like just things we've been talking about, because she even says like she loves how the negative space just creates these like images you wouldn't have noticed before, like kind of new things like come up in the picture, which is interesting.
Oh, I love that. It's like not the first thing you see.
Yeah.
It's like the set dressing actually is the most interesting part.
Yeah.
Or the space. The space.
Yeah, like it's not actually what it's like two people laying in bed, but then like next to it, it's like blown out and like really white on the side because of the negative space, and then you see like these other things like around them, like it creates a whole scene.
I get so drawn toward objects. I go from one object to another, usually made by corporations, but surrounding those objects are shadows, and those objects are existing in space. And not to get too trippy about it, but my eyes are missing that, and so someone like that who could bring you back to it in an honest, unvarnished way, it is grounding.
And it's
just, like untraining you.
No, yeah, definitely. To like look
to get
look
back
deeper.
to yourself.
Yeah, and get back to yourself.
Yeah.
That's so true. I know. So I love that about her work, and that like, yeah, it's just crazy because there's heavy themes, trigger warning, of like suicide in her journals, but then she dies from like a pulmonary what's it called? Pulmonary, like
embolism.
Embolism,
yeah.
Just like random, like.
Whoa.
So she drank a lot. It was like
okay,
and like smoked all day, every day, like. But it's just so creepy, like. Yeah, it's almost like she like manifested it. I mean,
yeah.
But it's just she like often was like, I don't want to be in this world. Like I can't do this. Blah, blah. And,
and she's not eating all day, and she's hard
just
drinking.
Taking her photos.
There's slow, decisive versions of something and slower versions, but it's.
Well, literally, like right here, this page I just opened. So it looks crazy because there's like it's like period count my photos, my pages, my work, my pages of work, my hours, so look after myself, like so, taking care, skin, nails, calluses, corns, tobacco, alcohol, sleep, stop drinking and smoking. Already started by cutting out sleeping pills and tranquilizers 6 weeks ago. So rescale the slope. Take up all of my old ambitions, revise them, go.
Yeah.
It's like
so familiar.
I know.
That like desperate to-do list.
So absolutely no more death. It's like she's like fighting this like, yeah.
Yeah, she's so in her head.
So in her head, yeah.
Tough place to be.
Yeah.
And wonder if she couldn't fathom the fact that 50 years later, two people would be talking about
I
it.
know.
Finding
crazy.
Connective tissue to our own lives.
Yeah, I know. It's really beautiful. I love how she writes. Like her journals just feel so like when I journal, sometimes I feel like I'm like judging myself. So
right.
I'm careful about what I say. I'm like, I'm the only one reading this. Why am I like, I feel like someone's judging me from like behind me.
Do you think it's because we lived in a more watched society now?
Maybe. Because she just feels so uninhibited. She's just like everything. Like it just all comes out. I mean, maybe she's like.
Sometimes I'll be like with my dog in front of my laptop and I'll be like, oh, how sweet that whoever's watching us right now thinks that we're being sweet.
I do that too.
Like the NSA agent who's checking in on me because I made a few bad tweets. It's like, no, he's harmless. Yeah. He loves his dog.
They're like, oh, okay, he's good. Okay, we'll move on to the next guy. I literally feel like that too. And I blame like AIM and MySpace. I just feel like we've just we're like the age of the internet. Like,
the internet was designed to watch us.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They designed it in like the Vietnam era to catalog people and watch people. The military did. And so we now live in a state where even when we're not being watched, we assume we're being watched. And that's the greatest imprisonment of all.
Oh my God. And it comes out, in so many different ways. Like you on the couch with Benito and like me journaling. I'm like, someone's reading this and judging me. Like, is it myself? Yes, but it's also someone else.
But then the crazy part is like, we are being watched.
I know.
Like our neighbors' Ring cameras are picking us up and down the sidewalk.
That's true.
Our phones are listening to us.
Listen.
Like the social media apps are listening.
They do get checked because like you get banned and you get shadow banned. So you're clearly being watched all the time. Like, and it's just.
And the people you're with, they know who's their profile and your profile and why you might be together.
Oh my God.
So we are.
Yeah.
But I remember being a teenager and seeing The Truman Show,
the
movie where Jim Carrey's in a fake world, and feeling like, oh, now someone's watching me. But like, yeah, now our world has gotten a lot closer to that.
Yeah.
So someone like her,
yeah,
she really didn't think anyone was watching.
No.
And it's cool that a book is a time capsule of an era where that was the case.
Yeah, it's true.
Because if you were to write that book now, you'd be like,
I'd be like, like it's
I'm
just in case
this.
someone publishes this after I die, it has to be good. Like
I need to capitalize this letter after a period.
It's just like, why?
They're gonna think I'm dumb.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I must not put a colon there. Yeah, I really want to turn my brain off in that way. I feel pretty badly kind of in that loop of like, this might be public information. Like, I want to just do more things just for me, like not like with I have started writing more.
You have?
Yeah. My therapist was like, you gotta write all this down again with the fantasy things like came back up again, and she's just like, just write it. I'm like, okay. So I have been writing, and it's actually been really cool because once you start writing, like, also I was reading all fours at the same time, and anytime I read Miranda July, I like want to write more because I kind of feel like, I don't know, it just like inspires me to like write about all the other mundane things and like idiosyncrasies I notice in people. So I've just been writing just random stuff about weird little childhood memories that have like stuck in my brain, and I'm kind of making a weird story off of them. So it's been fun. Yeah, like the Galpin dealership is something I've been writing about. So,
in the valley.
Yeah, like by the beer, like on the 405 north. Yeah, right over there. We used to go there like, in my head, it was like a million times, but in reality, I think it was like 3 times because we were buying a new car. I remember when I was little, and
Galpin,
it was just like,
it's Toyota, right?
It's Ford.
Oh, it's Ford. Okay.
Or maybe it has like different cars there.
I don't know.
Is it like I don't know actually. But we went there, and I just had them like, it was just so fun for some reason. Like,
being at a car dealership?
Going to the car dealership was like the best time, well, like in my memory.
You grew up in the valley, and the valley is like the epicenter of car culture and car dealerships. And
it was just fun to do something. Like, my family didn't really go, like, we never went on trips really, like, so it was like, that was like a trip. Like, we were driving to Van Nuys from Woodland Hills. Oh, yeah. And I was like, we're going on a trip. And like, it was just to the Galpin dealership. But my whole family would go, like all 5 of my siblings. We would like pile in the car. And it was so fun, like just walking around, getting into like the cars on the lot, feeling like, wow, what if we had this car? Like, I don't know. And so I'm writing about just the time going there, but making it like kind of trippy. Cool. So we'll see how it comes out. I don't know.
No, I mean, it already sounds.
I didn't need to talk about it. See, again.
I'm
it's
fascinated
just for
by
me.
Yeah.
But
it's Paul Thomas Anderson meets Miranda July. Hear
you
that,
guys all
TV
see.
producers? No, it's just the point of going there and concentrating on it.
No,
And these authors are reminders that, like, who knows who you're speaking to, but also who knows what you're speaking to within yourself. Yeah. And that's the exploration part, and that's what's cool about it.
Yeah. You just have to like do a bunch of things. I mean, I think it's good to rest, but like, I don't know, just try.
But doodling,
anything, just like,
it's innate. It's in us. Like, we want to see our experience outside of ourselves, and there's a lot of cool, fun ways to do that. Yeah. Even if it's just with a piece of chalk.
I know.
A rock you find on a
literally
sidewalk, whatever.
I know. It's so crazy how like it just can like doing one thing. That's why I'm always so like inspired by these books, because it's like, wow, I just read one line, and maybe to some people that'd be like, okay, like you didn't even read the book, you read a line. But it's like that one thing can trigger so much creativity that when you truly, like, I've felt so like stuck and in very dark, like can't get out of bed mode, and then you can get saved. Like, yes. you can save yourself. Like, feels so impossible sometimes, but then like the tiniest thing, like doodling, like, oh, it can like trigger this whole thing, and it's like wild.
I love that. I feel like that's a big theme of our conversation today. It's the energy to persist, and where we find that energy. Yeah. In reading and writing and company. Yeah. I could say this conversation we're having right now is giving me that.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually feeling like
I'm like, I love this.
I want to create something.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
And this is the first time I end a podcast episode with a guest and then we're just in the same place.
And we're just hanging out after. You can't get rid of me now.
Maybe we'll just carry the microphones.
Maybe
around.
we'll read All of I Spy.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we'll take it to the bar.
Yeah.
Do you think? Literature group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much, Dominique Matelson. Wait.
Yes.
I've known you how long? 10 years.
A long time now.
Yeah.
I know, that's actually really cool. Well, yeah, 10 years probably.
About.
Yeah.
8-9 years.
20. I met Siobhan in 2016, and you guys met in like 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow. Look at that. It's pretty cool actually now. I know we're wrapping up, but like I feel like I never had a lot of like long-term friends like my whole young adult life.
Yeah.
But now I do, and it's really cool like to have. It's so special.
You have a good group.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of your friends, and they're all cooler, sweeter, more interesting than the next. So
yeah, they love you.
You've done well.
Yeah, I feel like every time I bring up you and Siobhan, they're like, oh, like everyone gets so like love them like immediately. Like,
that's so much nicer than how I think people think about me.
Oh my God,
so
no, I'm not just saying that. So
glad to hear it, and glad to have you here. And
yeah.
This was a great conversation.
This was really nice.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay.
And thank you for listening to another episode of Turek Books, and happy reading out there. Also, try to rate the podcast if you get a chance on the app you're listening to right now. I think that helps, and it's appreciated, and you listening this long is appreciated too. So thank you very much, and until next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, thumbs up, any kind of thing that could help us get listened to or watched by more people. We really appreciated having you, and hope to see you again next week with a new guest and plenty of books. Take care until then.
And now, When I Told a Lie by Dominique Matelson, our guest on today's episode, a music video I directed if you're watching it on YouTube. Enjoy.
When I told a lie, I felt it in my heart, I felt it in my head, and I can feel myself falling into a land that I've never been a part of. Especially my neck. When I get angry lately, I feel like I'm losing everybody but my body. Maybe I don't want this body anymore. Maybe I want yours and yours and yours, not mine, not mine, but yours and yours. Talking to me lately is a chore.